7 fire departments, mostly from the metro area, were represented at the muster competition. They brought with them the tools of their trade and their own special skills. The competition would be in several events. First, the Bucket Brigade.
Come on, guys.
This is the most traditional of all the events. Object: move about 30 gallons of water via hand-carried buckets from a ground-level trough up a ladder to a waiting barrel. The team to reach the mark the fastest wins. The Midwest City team here made the mark in 39.2 seconds, which is considered a good time in this event. The competition is keen but professional, with all firemen hoping to learn a thing or two from each other.
In competition here, we learn a lot from the other cities, some of the techniques that they use, some of the training that they've applied to this type of competition. But I'd say that the main thing that we benefit from it is just becoming better acquainted and sharing some new ideas with each other.
Other events included speed drills and ladder climbing, standby response time, and a breathing apparatus competition. The fire departments will be back next year for another round of friendly competition and fun. Tony Stizza, Action 4 at Tinker Air Force Base.
Christina told the Senate panel about her experiences at the Whitaker Children's Home. She described how she was raped by a fellow student named Frank. However, Welfare Department documents show that Tina changed her story when questioned by OSBI agents 2 months ago. A deposition signed by Whitaker employee Mary Stedham shows that when Tina was asked to take a polygraph test about the incident, Tina decided that she would like to forget the incident and not take the polygraph test because she was not raped.
Another security guard came to my window at night. He pulled down his pants and showed me his butt and his sex organ.
Former student Dolores Briscoe told the senators about a security guard who repeatedly exposed himself to her when she lived at a juvenile facility in Sand Springs. However, the Welfare Department says it was contacted by Briscoe's former roommate, Lori Glazebrook. Glazebrook disputed Briscoe's testimony. The Welfare Department says it has forwarded all of its documents concerning the testimony to the Senate Subcommittee on Juvenile Justice. Scott Wallace, Action 4.
We will be open tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock.
Members of Cosmopolitan Lady were excited last night about the spa reopening, but when business began this morning, few showed up to work out. It was a handful of members and a lot of staff. The only people taking this class were the instructors themselves. The staff hasn't been paid since July 8th, but they're not giving up. They've asked the owner for money one last time.
We're asking him to pay us a portion now and then guarantee us the rest of it in 10 days, and then everything will be fine. You know, I guess what he's doing is getting his financial situation straightened out.
But for the members, getting into good physical shape may have hurt their financial shape. Don Easter, Assistant Oklahoma District Attorney, says the consumer is largely unprotected in a case like this.
Unless there's a misrepresentation of fact, either in the advertisement of the business or the advertisement of what it offers, then the Oklahoma consumer is more or less unprotected at this point. There are other states that have laws that require surety bonds for businesses who sell lifetime memberships, and it may be that next year in the legislature we need to look into possibility of adopting one or more statutes relating to surety bonds by businesses who wish to sell lifetime memberships.
While the equipment sits idle, the doors to the $3 million spa are still open. But whether members will get what they paid for, no one can yet say. Debbie Mash, Action 4 in Northwest Oklahoma City.
Because this demonstrates some of the facilities which were originally provided to us in which to perform some of our autopsies. basically the tissues or blood or whatever, drugs, poisons, what have you. There are some of us in the agency who have gone through quite a struggle in order to try to maintain salary levels at one which is competitive for the chief medical examiner and associates with other systems of comparable size and comparable integrity. And we have not been able to do that. For some time now we have been falling behind in that regard, and each year we have been saying, well, next year perhaps the situation will change, but it seems that the situation doesn't change.
Fireman Art Roberts and this station's communications center are going to pull out of the fire department and move into the police department for 10 days. The two will be working with Oklahoma City's juvenile system at the Oklahoma State Fair. Art won't be alone. More than 30 ham radio operators will be joining him. They're all members of the Central Oklahoma Radio Amateurs Association. Together they'll serve as the eyes and ears of the police force.
Looking for any possible problem that a child might run into, somebody molestation, kidnapping, or just lost. You get a lost child, that's a very traumatic situation for everybody concerned, and our people are going to be watching for these types of situations. Also, any possible medical problem, of course, we could get help right away. We'll be in direct contact with the police, fire, and AmCare.
The radio operators are just one of many extras this year concerning security. There'll be more Oklahoma City policemen assigned, as well as the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office and their entire force of reserve deputies. The increase in manpower is absolutely necessary in an event like this, because when the fairgrounds fill up with fairgoers, it'll take a long time to get from one place to another. Sherry Sellers, Action 4 at the State Fairgrounds.
The Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office, under J.D. Sharp, budgeted money to upgrade the county's jail medical program. It's now the finest in the state, with a fraction of the money spent by other state cities of comparable size. Captain Russell Deere has been with the department for years, and he's seen the progress.
Well, our facility, I think now, compared to what it was back a few years ago, is comparatively a lot better. I know several of the other surrounding counties do not have any medical staff at all, which we have a medical staff, as I said before, is on call 24 hours a day, and generally is here anywhere from 8 to 10, 12 hours a day, taking care of inmates is here. Our population in the jail right now is approximately around 500. And with this many inmates, you always have, 20 or 30 people a day that need medical attention in some sort.
An Oklahoma County inmate who wished not to be identified has also seen the old and the new approach to the medical treatment.
But I was seriously in pain and hurting very badly. But I was scared to come up here because it wasn't like that before. I was scared to death. I was afraid I was going to cripple the rest of my life.
So you got adequate treatment here when you...
I got more than adequate treatment. He sat down instead of spending, in 1980, he spent about a total of 15, 20 seconds with me, or maybe longer, a couple of minutes. Mr. Carney sat down and spoke with me probably 45 minutes to an hour.
Dr. Don Chumley has the contract with the county to provide medical services. Compared to Jacksonville, Florida, and Duval County, about Oklahoma City size, Oklahoma County taxpayers are getting a heck of a deal.
In comparison to Duval County Jail, which has a staff of approximately 28, we have a staff of approximately 3. We render the same medical care as Duval County Jail. What it is costing us is time. We are working 14 to 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, plus we are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Other state county jails budget monies for prison medical care, but doctors don't make daily rounds. And for instance, in most counties, a doctor is on call in emergency situations only. Yes, health care is improving, and for those sensitive to prisoners' needs, take heart. The Oklahoma County Jail is setting a pace that others may soon follow.
Ever since Orville and Wilbur Wright flew their first powered plane 80 years ago, airplanes have become larger, faster, and more expensive. Pilots like Jerry Ackerman are taking a giant step backward in aviation. He flies planes which are smaller, slower, and cheaper. The motorized hang glider, which Ackerman keeps in his hangar at the Perry Airport, is called an ultralight. It looks like something the Wright brothers might have designed after they downed a few beers. Ultralights have become very popular. They don't drink much gas, they're easy to fly, and you don't need a pilot's license to operate one. They've become so popular that the FAA decided the planes could pose a threat to other air traffic. Beginning next month, ultralights will be restricted to daytime, fair weather operation away from busy airports. Pilots like Jerry Ackerman welcome the new regulations.
State of the art is moving forward extremely fast. We're seeing so many new products come out. I think they're going to improve to be safer, I think, with the new regulations than they are now. Everyone's kind of groping around, not knowing exactly which way the regulations are going to go lead. And I think we'll see them considerably more safer now with a little bit better products also.
The FAA expects ultralight pilots to voluntarily comply with the new laws. If they don't, the agency has reserved the right to institute much stricter regulations. Scott Wallace, Action 4 in Perry.
Down there, Mickey's. That sounds like a doggone good spot.
I go there when I want chili. It's really good chili.
All right. Now, my dad, he's looking for one of us boys to show these kids how to do. Famous. Famous. Do I have to show? What? Keep stirring. I don't know where fire starter is, though. Fire starter?
We always need volunteers. It's a very essential part because our whole society is made up of volunteers, our board of trustees and all the people who do work with us. We do have a patient aid program. We help all the leukemia victims here in the state of Oklahoma. The main part of our monies go to research, and that is the vital thing to find the cause and cure for which we are dedicated.
The Santa Fe switching yard at the Oklahoma City General Motors plant looks like a ghost town. On a normal day, 5 train crews would be busy unloading car parts for GM. When the plant is operating, the crews unload 100 boxcars a day. But today was not a normal day.
The White House says the effects of the strike could be extremely serious for critical industries very soon.
Pickets remain posted at the entrance to the switching yard. They pass the time listening to the latest news about their strike. The engineers were encouraged this morning when other train crewmen refused to cross their picket lines.
Well, they're not crossed their picket, they're not working. There's a few supervisors, and that's it. It's working.
So would you say that your strike here in Oklahoma City has been pretty successful?
I would say so, yes.
General Motors depends on trains to deliver 80% of the parts needed to build cars. Without rail service, the plant which reopened today could shut down Wednesday.
Unfortunately, it's going to be a day-to-day situation. We can run today, and we're looking at what will happen tomorrow if the strike continues.
The strain of the strike could be too much for the already ailing auto industry to bear. If a contract agreement isn't reached soon, the federal government may have to step in to get the locomotives rolling again. Scott Wallace, Action 4, Southeast Oklahoma City.
Tonight's NFL game between Green Bay and New York will be the last for a while until players and owners reach some agreement. Whatever side the fans are on, they think they are the losers.
Nobody gets a fair shake. It's the fans lose out, not the players. The fans lose out. We don't get no football. In a football state like this, we lose out. We're not getting anything out of this whole game. We're not getting nothing. This is it. The last game of the season for us. We don't get anything, except, thank God, we've got OU.
I think they ought to give the damn game back to the people. I'm getting tired of not, having those players go out there and they do everything they want to do for themselves. They get paid to play this game. They ought to be out there entertaining us.
I don't like it. I really don't. I think it's bad for football.
It's just a shame, especially for those of us who are more or less adamant fans of one team or another, and some of us are for just about everybody. I hate to see it happen. I'm going to be lost Thursday night.
The sentiment is clear. The fans, at least the ones we talked to, want a settlement, and they want it soon. As one man put it, what would football do if the fans went on strike? Charles Schnitzer, Action 4.
This service station quit carrying gasohol after receiving numerous complaints from motorists that their cars were sounding funny and not starting up properly. Fuel injection cars seem to be having the most trouble with cheap gasoline, like this green Volvo. The entire gas tank had to be drained because the gasoline was so bad. This appears to be a widespread problem that perhaps 80% of the new cars are facing. Bad gas can ruin the performance of a car and end up costing a lot of money repairing something that should have never happened in the first place.
And that's the trouble that we've had. We've had it for years, but it's now getting worse and worse on account of the engines. The engines are designed to run with clean fuel. They've come out with this unleaded gasoline, and it's no gas as good as it used to be. Even the best gas, no gas as good as it used to be. But that's the problem, because it won't burn clean. It's not hot enough octane to burn. And if you don't get a good gas, as good a gas as you can buy, then the car don't run right and it don't burn clean like it's supposed to. And that's why we're having so much carburetor trouble. They just fill the carburetor full of trash.
The problem has become so severe that some insurance companies are paying for the repairs of engine contamination. The word to the motorist is, find a reputable place to buy your gas and stick with it. Bella Shaw, Action 4.
Last day finishing touches were being administered today at the State Fairgrounds in preparation for tomorrow's opening of the Oklahoma State Fair. On the Midway, carnies were rolling back the covers to game booths where thousands of dollars to be spent this year by people trying to win stuffed animals and other traditional prizes. Preparations got off to a shaky start last night when an electrical short started a fire in the middle of the Midway activity, burning 3 tents and a trailer and injuring 4 workers. but that hasn't dampened the spirit of carnival employees who feel that their job is as good as any.
Why do I do it? Because I enjoy doing it. I enjoy traveling. I enjoy working for the man I'm working for. And I don't really know what else to say. It's just a job's a job. Back where I'm from, there ain't none. Everything's shutting down, so I just come back to do what I do the best.
One of the major attractions of the state fair is, of course, food. Stacks of goodies are being unloaded and stored in coolers this morning for future use. There are all kinds of food available, from Chinese to the old reliables. Besides being a good time for fun and eats, the Oklahoma State Fair has also turned into a good area for businessmen.
It's getting better every year. We've been here every year for about 11 years, and every year it gets a little bit better for us. We talk to some cattle people here, and that's what we're in the business for.
So everything is ready for the 1982 State Fair. All that's needed now are the people.
They came with signs describing the torture they say their people have endured in West Beirut. Stories of Israeli air attacks killing thousands of innocent civilians. These protesters also blame Israel for the recent attack by Christian militiamen, killing more than 1,500 Palestinians. They say they want Oklahomans to know of Israeli atrocities in the Middle East. Today's rally was a peaceful one, but it was not without heated debate.
And I'm not allying with Israel.
Do you believe the Bible?
Second I believe in Bible, but I don't believe in to use the Bible for killing the people.
The Bible didn't say.
They enforce their statement using the Bible. Have you seen
demonstration in Israel? Demonstrations in Israel.
Many of the protesters in today's rally say they believe the United States is partially to blame for last week's Palestinian massacre. But most of today's hostility was directed at Israel.
Had it not been for their presence and their claims to be the cop on the beat coat here, then this wouldn't have happened. They are definitely responsible.
But one Israeli bystander says the attacks in Beirut are just revenge for 7 years of Palestinian atrocities.
So the PLO was terrorizing the Christian Arab citizen of Lebanon for the last 7 years, and we are killing thousands of them. And now the Christians are taking revenge and killing the Muslim or the PLO citizen. I don't think this is a good thing, a massacre, but nobody is pointing out this.
Today's protest was sponsored by the Lebanese Student Association. They say they plan to rally again in the near future. In Norman, Kurt Autry, Action 4.
So now they are getting what they started with, actually.
Hey, we need some players over here. Hey, come here, kids. Come here. Come over here. Pick out one. Pick up one. There you go. You gotta lift it. Oh. Come on, one in the wind. Come on. All right, we got it. One in the wind. Let's go. One in the wind. Lift the ball. Good job.
Weigh about, how about one?
I tried.
You spent a lot of money at the fair today?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Are you winning much?
No, not a thing. Can't stand the bottles up. Tried all day.
The Moore School Board has taken a lot of heat in the past 4 months since voting to fire 6 elementary administrators accused of falsifying meal vouchers. School Superintendent Bob Spence has been in the spotlight because he recommended those terminations. Moore School patrons angered by the handling of the firings have vowed to defeat a $4.5 million school bond proposal. More citizens will vote on that bond issue next Tuesday. Superintendent Spence today resigned. He hopes his resignation will help the bond issue pass.
I see it as an opportunity for those people who feel I'm the issue, and there are a significant number of them, who are saying vote it down because of Bob Spence. And I'm saying I'm not going to keep a job to hurt kids. I came to this district and we made goal number 1, children, and all decisions have been made in the best interest of children. This decision today is made on that same basis.
Despite his resignation, Spence promised to cooperate with an OSBI investigation of Moore schools. He says he plans to remain in Oklahoma, but he will work in a different career field. Scott Wallace, Action 4.
Enrollment is up at Stonegate Elementary School. More than 400 children now attend here. About 100 of those are from another school. Stonegate merged with a school that was shut down. One of the teachers' unions argues that the school board's decision to close 4 schools has created overcrowding.
I know one of the issues for several years has been to shut down schools that have not met their capacity and enrollment. And whether or not that was a proper decision is something that they're going to have to contend with. But I do know that the situation as it is today is that those students had to go somewhere, and where they have gone is causing problems at least 2 of the 4 schools where the buildings were combined.
But Superintendent Tom Payzant says the system is simply operating at capacity.
So we still have a few buildings with empty classrooms in certain parts of the city and a few buildings that are being pressured by enrollment in other parts of the city. But overall, we're in pretty good shape right now.
Statistics show student enrollment highest in a few of the South Side and Central City schools, where a number of school administrators have placed orders for portable buildings. Debbie Mash, Action 4.
People should be very alarmed because cyanide is nothing to fool around with. As the case in Chicago, it can be fatal. And the person has this product with this code number on it, it's 1910MD. They should take it back to the store or hold it until this problem is solved.